So this is kind of a continuation of the other video, which was about changing the recall type. And now I'm going to show you why we want to do that. So if you haven't watched that other video first, watch that and then come back to this one. So here's Donald. He came in today. We set the appointment complete. He had his perio maintenance visit today. And now we want to schedule his next appointment. So what I'm going to do is go over here and make recall, the second button right there. But first, let me go in and look at his treatment plan. He's got some treatment in here, but he doesn't have any recalls in here. So keep this in mind, because normally when you schedule another appointment, you're going to have to tie treatment to it. That's why this is such a slick feature. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go make recall. If he's got other appointments in there, and he does, then this screen will pop up, and you go down here. You can either schedule his whole family, or in this case, we're only going to schedule him. So I'm going to click on that button, schedule recall, and look what happens. It created the appointment out here, and it's giving me different times and dates to choose from. But you notice it skipped out 4 months. Okay, it knows what 4 months from now is. The other thing is, look at the other things that it put in this appointment. Let's put it over here where we can look at it a little bit better. So it added all these things into that appointment. These are the things that Donald will be due for when he comes in on that date. So for instance, his perio maintenance is not due today because he just had that done, but it will be due in 4 months. And these other things will also be due. These are the other recall timers that are running in there. It will automatically populate these procedures into that appointment. That's what's so slick about this. You don't have to manually enter these things one at a time, and maybe you forget one. It makes it a little bit more difficult to make that appointment. It's all automated. It's all correct. It's going to skip out to exactly the right time out here in the future. You don't have to use that one. You can put the clipboard back, put it back on the pinboard, and we can go look at this one if you want to. Let's schedule him on this date. Okay. The other thing is that it's automatically picked the provider. Where did that provider come from? Because if you want this patient to be seen by the same hygienist each time, you can do that. And all you have to do is again go into the family module. This time we're over here on this side, and we'll double click on that. Yes, we want to continue. We know his social security number is wrong. And over on this side we can set the secondary provider. So this typically will be the patient's preferred hygienist. Okay, and you can put any provider you want in there. I had this one already set up. So Open Dental knows when it's scheduling a recall that way to schedule it for that secondary provider and not the primary provider. Primary provider is the doctor. So again, it's helping you out. It's doing all this automatically for you. The other nice thing is if this provider doesn't work on whatever day, this is a Thursday, Open Dental knows that provider is not on Thursday, and so it won't schedule that appointment on a Thursday. It won't offer you appointments for a day when that provider is not there. So lots of advantages to doing it this way. The other advantage is, and we see this happen all the time, most insurance will cover prophy or perio maintenance after so many per year, or 2 and 12 is a typical sort of thing. So you don't want to accidentally, in the case of a prophy, schedule them in 5 months, 5 months and 3 weeks, because the insurance is not going to pay for it. And now you're stuck. You either have to bill the patient for that, or you have to write it off. And neither one of them is not a very attractive option. By using this auto recall, you don't have to worry about that, because based on the recall timers will keep that mistake from happening. You don't have to count on your fingers, is this 6 months or 4 months or whatever. And by the way, in the case of Donald, we scheduled him for a perio maintenance. If we had not changed his recall type, if he was still a prophy, which was the default, it would have gone out 6 months instead of 4 months, and it would have put in there a prophy instead of a perio maintenance. So lots of advantages to doing it this way. It's got to be set up correctly in Open Dental, and that should be done for you. And once that's done, this should work really, really well. So we're going to set this up in Open Dental to make it even better and even easier. We're going to let the patients do all the work here. So when Daisy Duck is due for her appointment, automatically Open Dental will send out an email and or a text with a link that Daisy can click on to schedule her own appointment. And she can do this in the middle of the night. My recall message is a little bit different than yours because I want the patient to come in and pick up their aligners. I've kind of hijacked this, but the idea is when their recall is due, they get the message automatically, they go in and click on the link, and they're offered appointments just like we did with the auto recall scheduling. Okay, so whenever you're open, whenever that provider is there, the patient clicks on that date, they're offered some appointments here. Okay, and they're going to take this appointment right there at 1:40. Said, you sure this is what you want to do? Yes. Boom. The patient scheduled their own appointment. Isn't that slick? You don't have to do anything. The recalls were sent out automatically, the patients made their own appointment automatically, and all the correct procedures are in that appointment with the correct provider. How much easier can that get? Here's the confirmation that goes out to Daisy. There's your appointment confirmation. And just like the other confirmations and reminders, this is all automated in Open Dental. So no work at all for the staff. Here's Linda managing our recalls. Okay, working really hard there. So the idea isn't that Linda doesn't have to work so hard. The idea is that the patients schedule their own appointments. It's more accurate, it's easier, it's just way more efficient. We work so hard to get new patients into the office, and yet often we turn around and just escort them right out the back door. So obviously you want to schedule the recall appointment while the patient's in the office. But if that didn't happen, then by all means you want to make it as easy as possible for patients to schedule those appointments. That's what this is all about.